Hello, What Culture Combat fans and MMA boxing fans all around the world. I am Gareth Morgan, obviously, and I'm here today to talk to you about a couple of things, really. We've got some MMA news, we've got some boxing news. We are really delving into the combat world today. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. First piece of news today is all about Derrick Lewis, who was dealing with a life or death medical issue, apparently, that doctors advised him not to fight as well at UFC 247. So, if you didn't know this by now, Derrick Lewis was fighting. He fought on Saturday, he fought against Ali Latifi. He won a unanimous decision fight. It was a heavyweight clash, and he looked pretty good. He added a few more things into his arsenal. He had some flying knees, which were incredible. If you've seen those, they were outstanding. He had some head kicks as well, which Derrick Lewis is kind of known as a bit of a heavy bomb striker, just kind of walks through people, whereas he looks a bit more well-rounded in his striking game in this fight. He got taken down a few times. Latifi used all of his Greco wrestling nuance, and yeah, he just completely dominated him in terms of like the ground game and everything else. But he looked pretty good. He looked fresh. Apparently, he'd incorporated water into his regime for the first time ever. That was according to commentary. So yeah, I'm surprised it's taken him this long, but hey, Lewis, you do you. You're doing pretty well at this point. But it's now just come out that he was apparently dealing with a life or death issue. He said this on the Ariel Helwani show, the MMA show that he does on YouTube. The quote is, well, at first he kind of mentioned that he would be available as a backup for the Francis Ngannou and Jairzinho Rozenstruik fight, which is coming up at UFC on ESPN 8. He said, yes, I will be available for that fight, but my coach wants me to get something checked out that came up in my medicals that has been hindering my training. Immediately, you've got kind of alarm bells going off there. You're kind of thinking, what? I mean, if it was life or death, how the heck did he manage to get through an entire fight? 3-round fight, quite a kind of bruising fight as well, and look as good as what he did, because he looked impressive for me personally. He actually went into more detail in the interview. He said that the UFC doctor knows what it is, and the doctors here in Houston know what it is. It's just something that's been going on that I got to get addressed. It's a life or death situation, serious. And then he went on to say he's dead serious, because obviously he's known for having a bit of a joke, a bit of a laugh, Derrick Lewis, and that's why we all love him. But no, he said that this is a serious thing, and it's a bit, I don't know, I'm a bit concerned, because I love Derrick Lewis. I think he's one of the best personalities, the biggest personalities in MMA right now, not just the UFC, in all of MMA. He's really epic to watch. You watch any of his post-fight interviews, he's just brilliant. He's so compelling. But I hope he's okay. I mean, he's already talking about potentially being a stand-in for that Rozenstruik and Ngannou fight, so he might be all right. But if it's life or death, that doesn't sound too good, Lewis. So we hope you get well soon. We hope whatever the issues are, you get those sorted, because we want to see you back in that octagon as soon as possible. And I want to see you build on that 2-fight win streak you've got now, because yeah, this could be your time again, my friend. You've had a couple of decision victories. Let's start knocking people out with flying knees. I'm all about that life. Okay, next piece of news, and I nearly broke my paper. But yeah, the next piece of news is all about the UFC apparently selling a replica version of the BMF title. This BMF belt's had a lot of traction over the last, I think it's since November, so the last couple of months since it's been established. A lot of people are kind of enjoying the hype of the BMF belt. It hasn't really got its own class or anything like that. Can you have a BMF class? Who knows? But yeah, Jorge Masvidal's kind of been walking around, strutting around with the belt. He's very happy with the belt. He shows up at every press conference, every event he's taken to. He's wearing it around his waist, or he's got it in front of him. He's very proud of his BMF belt. And a couple of people seem very interested in taking that belt off him. I think Conor McGregor has pretty much made it known at this point that he wants a shot at that BMF title. So he's very much considering that. But Dana White actually said after the inaugural kind of fight, the inaugural Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal BMF title fight, that it was a one and done, just to kind of sell that fight. And it did a good job. It did pretty well numbers-wise. You got The Rock in there as well, putting the belt around him. But if you want your own BMF title, I mean, I'm pretty interested in having my own BMF title, to be honest, just to kind of make me feel better. But you'd have to go online and go in the UFC store. They've got their own website, obviously, the UFC store. And it would set you back $850. That's 650 quid if you're from the UK, like I am. So it's not cheap for a nice little BMF belt. I mean, you'd be BMF if you can afford that, so fair enough. But that's a lot less expensive than the actual 50 grand that it apparently cost Dana White to make the belt in the first place. So you're getting a bargain, I want to say, maybe a bargain. You never know, the Conor McGregor BMF title shot fight thing with Jorge Masvidal could happen this year. So we could see the BMF belt on the line again, or we could see Nate Diaz maybe challenge Masvidal for it at some point. could come back, but if not, at least you can go online, buy your own version of the belt. You might see Conor walking around with a replica. Who knows? And the last bit of news today is all about boxing. We're gonna have a little change now, a bit of an alteration. Got my boxing hat on, just taking my MMA hat off. I'll put it down there. It's fine. I'll pick it back up at some point soon. But yeah, boxing. Tyson Fury has lashed out. Lashed out, not physically. He'll do that later on. But he's lashed out at Eddie Hearn, who has had a few choice comments on Fury's upcoming fight with Deontay Wilder. I think it's the 22nd of February. They've got that scheduled rematch. It's going to be Deontay Wilder taking on Tyson Fury for the WBC World Heavyweight Championship. Probably going to be the biggest fight in probably the last 10 years maybe for the heavyweight division. All the way through this camp, he's been very, very confidently talking about how he thinks he's going to knock out Deontay Wilder. He's probably got the heaviest hands in all of boxing right now. He's probably got the most powerful right hook, without a shadow of a doubt, in all of boxing. So it's a pretty big claim. Fury's not exactly known for sparking people out. He has finished fights in the past, but he's not exactly had that in his back pocket. He's not known for being a brutalized kind of bomb thrower. But he claims he can do it. He's had a different camp. He's got a new trainer in. He claims he's been doing all the right things. I think I watched in one of the kind of videos on YouTube covering the fight, covering the build-up, that one of his sparring partners said that he kind of went in there thinking, oh, Fury can't really throw. And then he got caught a couple of times and he was like, I do not want to go through that again. So who knows? He might have the heavyweight power, the heavy kind of knockout power, that's what I was looking for, in him. But Eddie Hearn does not believe so. He believes that Fury is going to win the fight. He believes that, yeah, he'll probably win by decision, obviously at the end of the fight. But he doesn't think he'll do it by knockout. And Mr. Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, he's not very happy with that. He's going to come out and say some things that he does not like about Eddie Hearn. So he said, you know what? He said this to the Main Event show on SB Nation Radio. He said, you know what? I don't really care what Eddie Hearn says because Eddie Hearn is something you call a cat. And I don't even know if I can say that on live radio. You probably can't, Tyson. But Eddie Hearn is something you call a cat. And so is AJ. And if they have any nuts about them, they'd have fought me years ago. So he's not very happy with that. You can say, you're right, I can understand why you'd be a little bit riled up by that because you're putting a lot of effort in, a lot of positivity into your camp, saying that you are going to knock somebody out. You're trying to kind of bring that into the world. If you keep vocalizing it, you keep kind of visualizing it, you're trying to make that a reality. And then somebody literally comes out and goes, yeah, you're probably going to win, but you're not going to do what you say you're going to do. I'd be a bit miffed as well. I'd be a bit annoyed. I think a lot of this as well may be a bit tactical. I think he's trying to set out his stall for after the Wilder fight. If he does win that fight, I think if he has a bit of kind of venom and a bit of animosity, he's had that over the years anyway. But if he just keeps stoking these flames, these kind of Joshua Eddie Hearn flames, after this fight, it pretty much sets up a battle of the British World Heavyweight Unification Championship fight, which, oh, my mouth waters. Just the idea of the build-up to that. I think Fury and Joshua just going at it would just be hilarious. Eddie Hearn and Fury going at it would just be, oh, I need that fight. I hope Fury wins. I hope he beats Wilder because I want to see that fight. Nothing against you, Deontay Wilder. You've actually grown on me a lot since I've been watching. You kind of, ever since the lead up to that first fight, you grew on me a lot as a personality. I'm a big fan now, but I just want to see Fury and Joshua go at it. And this quote has got me excited. So that's what we've been missing in boxing recently. Something to really get our teeth sunk into and just excited about. So what do you think? Do you think we're going to see Joshua versus Fury at some point in the future? Do you believe that you should be somebody buying a BMF title belt? Do you want that belt? Do you think it's worth it for $850 or 650 quid, depending on where you are in the world? And also, what do you think of Derrick Lewis right now saying he's got a life or death situation, a bit of an issue? I'm sure I can probably speak on behalf of the entire MMA community when we wish him the best and just hope he's back on his feet as soon as possible. But yeah, let me know what you think about all these news stories. I have been Gareth from What Culture Combat. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching us today. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to all things What Culture Combat, and I'm sure that I will see you very, very soon.